Welcome once again to the iRacing British Touring Car Championship here on BSR TV. This is round 25 from the national circuit at Silverstone. In the box, Chris Cohen alongside Matt Dalton. Evening, Matt.
Evening, Chris. Evening, everybody.
And hopefully Dan Blake as well. Hello, Dan.
Evening, Chris. Evening, Matt.
It's good to have you back in the box, Dan. And you are now a certified real-world racing driver, aren't you?
Yeah, thank you very much. I made my debut in the Hyundai Coupe Cup at Rockingham. First time I've ever been out on the track on any sort of car, and I got a 21st and a 20th out of 34, so not bad going.
Excellent work, and some videos up of that, I believe, as well. So if you're interested in seeing some real-world racing from Dan Blake's point of view, I'm sure you can hunt those videos down. But back to iRacing, and this is where the championship gets very interesting, because this is the penultimate meet. So there's one more meet next week from Brands Hatch, and then that's the end of the season. And let's go over and have a quick look at the standings, because Jamie Rushworth has a very tentative lead, 25 points, Matt. That's all that separates him from Stefan Hoog in second place.
That's not what you'd call an enormous lead, and it's not by any stance insurmountable.
And Adam Terry is there, his Bianco teammate, in third place, not very far off. Just look at the difference between him and Linus Brustrom in fourth, and Chepalevsky, of course, in fifth place. Hardly anything to choose between those two guys. Only 60 points separating the top five, as it was last week. Extremely close at the top. Any one of those five drivers could come away from Silverstone this evening with the top of the table. And Ellis Stevens, two-time champion, remember, for eBay Motors, in sixth place. David Baker, seventh. Reggie Blaine, another Movie Go Racing driver, in eighth place. Robert Plumley, ninth place. Burleson, the first of the CQR drivers, in 10th. Moving down the scores then, Janowski in 11th. Last season's champion, who's been struggling this season, Andreas Katz, the German, in 12th place. Simon Field, 13th. Laura Bond, 14th. Nick McCarron and Hefford, the Triple Eight drivers, in 15th and 16th. And Steve Richardson moving up the table towards the end of the season there. Another eBay Motors driver, 17th. Von Glan, 18th. Johnson in 19th. And his CQR Takata teammate, Christian Rose, is in 20th place. And all the rest of the scores are available on bsrtv.net. We're only showing the top 20 here, because otherwise we'd be here all day and we miss some of the racing, which would be no good. Dan, Silverstone, the national configuration, not a very long circuit, and it's going to be tough to get all these cars around this track.
It's going to be very tough indeed. Also, it's one of probably the only tracks which wasn't affected by the recent reconstruction and upgrading of the circuit, so it's one these drivers will know quite well from previous sims and from this one, so it'll be interesting to see just what happens this evening. And
the Carreras were out in force, well, I should say the Roughs really, or the RUFs, whatever you want to call them, were out in force yesterday. Scott Woodwis and Marcus Naris were in the box for that one. That's all on the YouTube channel, so you can go back and watch that one. And also we had some onboard footage from, actually on his channel rather than our channel, but it's the onboard footage anyway from Robert Plumley, who is racing in this, and he raced in the Carreras last night as well. Did extremely well, and fascinating to I had a look at some of that footage. Really interesting to watch some of the driver perspective. But let's have a quick look at the team championship, because the $100 prize is on offer for the winning team this time round. Bianco have it at the moment, but just look at that, 8 points the difference to Movie Go Racing out of 4,000. That's a bit of a tight margin, Matt.
Yep. Tighter than... Yeah, I'm not going to go there. I promised I wouldn't this evening.
Save them up. eBay Motors are in third place, but they're now 227 points down, and a massive gulf between them and Triple Eight in fourth place. Over 1,000 points is the difference. Addison Lee, fifth. CQR Fusion, the highest place of the CQR teams, in sixth place. Dynojet 7th, Speedworks 8th, KX Momentum 9th, and CQR Takata in 10th place. Now we're just going to touch on Season 5, because Season 4, this current season, is not yet over, but there is a massive $1,000 prize fund available for Season 5, and that's all going to go to the teams who do the best, not the drivers, but the teams who do the best. And the entries are starting coming in. We've got some information on our website about who will be racing for who. It's still early days, but Dan, it's going to make racing even more interesting when people know that there's a bit of a cash prize on offer.
Exactly, I saw on the website the Radicals were getting involved as well. Blake Townend and Rob Cuss and Andy Kay. So it looks like already you got some very big teams wanting to put their hat in for this one.
Well, the competition's going to be tough, but Blake Townend, who you can see in action regularly on our Skip Barber series on Mondays, to say UK and I Skip Barber series, the series we cover, just to be clear about that, on Mondays, he is last season's champion, did extremely well last season, and doing pretty well this season as well. He's going to take to a completely new format, the front-wheel drive touring car Kia Optima, in Season 5 of the British Touring Car Championship. Very keen to see how he and his Radical teammates will manage to do, Matt. It's going to be a tough proposition, though. Those guys, they're known in iRacing for some excellent racing and top quality skills, but not necessarily in the Kia.
No, they do tend to focus on the major series between them all, but one thing you can say with those guys is if they're going to throw some weight at it, they're not going to mess around. They will not be turning up wanting to finish second. That would not be ideal for them in any way, shape or form, so be very interesting. They've obviously got it's a pretty big carrot, $1,000.
Yeah, absolutely, and just about 3 minutes till we form the grid here at Silverstone National for the first of 3 races this evening. As always, your comments and questions welcome in the YouTube comments area. If you're watching live, or whether it's recorded later, you're still welcome to have your say. We'll try and have a look at those. As we pointed out during the Skip Barber race earlier this week, we don't exactly have them up on the screen all the time, so we tend to flip back and forth. Might take us a while to get to them, but we will get to them nonetheless. It's going to be an interesting grid. I have the grid somewhere. Oh, here it is. That's well prepared by me. Stefan Hoog is out on pole by .063 from championship leader Jamie Rushworth. Sutton puts in a great qualifying time to put him in 3rd place. Real life MSA Formula Ford driver, of course. Bit of a different discipline this one, but he seems to be fast in anything. Chepalewski 4th on the grid, then Wild and Kevin Critchley. Interesting, Dan, Adam Terry, who's 3rd in the championship, could only manage 7th here.
Yeah, and Terry's got a bit of work to do, someone who's notoriously been quite quick in these series in the past, so it'll be interesting to see how far he can come up, but I expect a bit of a charge from Adam Terry this evening, whatever.
And Sutton, Matt, is not known for his ability to stay out of trouble. Is that fair to say?
He's not backwards and going forwards. He's fairly aggressive with the overtakes, and he certainly seems to have a philosophy of win it or bin it. Perhaps a little bit more finish it would be useful for him, but he's one of the guys to watch for certain. With it, he certainly makes it all interesting.
Well, the front 2 rows of the grid here contain 3 of the 5 championship contenders. I should say the main contenders. It's possible that the top 5 all crash and die horribly, and then Ellis Stevens in 6th place comes through to be champion. I find that quite unlikely, but Chepalewski is definitely one to watch because he's not out of it. But after his crushing defeat in the last season, I'm sure he won't mind me saying he was very disappointed not to be able to take the championship, and it came down to the narrowest of margins, as it usually does. It's for him to go out and sort of prove that he is the quickest driver, Matt. Although he's under more competition than he has been last season.
Yeah, again, I think that's just an indication of the strength of some of the new guys to this series. Have brought a real intensity to the racing that hasn't been there in previous years, and it's made everybody have to go up a few gears. And there's no more stark example of that than the fact that Andreas Katz has been struggling so much.
Well, there has been mention of the tyre model, hasn't there? It was a bit of a big change, and some drivers got on with it, and some drivers didn't. There's a huge difference in the wing settings now. The Kia Optima used to be very unstable on negative wing settings, and now it's doable, although not necessarily wise depending on the circuit. I'm no expert when it comes to car setup, but there is a lot to be said for a good setup on any track. And how would you set this one up round here, Dan?
I think you really want to go more straight line speed. Obviously, you've got the long Wellington straight, and although there is a couple of corners on this track, you probably do want to be more a straight line based car, this one.
Well, there is your pole man, Stefan Hoog. Let's see what he can do off the line. He's going to have to make a very good start. He's got Ashley Sutton right behind him, and that on the right hand side is Jamie Rushworth. And well, it's going to be difficult to get round turn 1 in one piece if you're starting near the back, Matt.
Yeah, and it's iRacing's cameras at this track are just brilliant, aren't they? The fact you can see absolutely nothing.
Well, luckily in the race director's room here, we've got the cameras sorted out for you, so no buildings to get in the way. The lights are on. The lights are green already. We're away with round 25 of the iRacing British Touring Car Championship, and a good start from Hoog. It looks like he will hold this position into turn 1. Sutton has bogged down, unfortunately, at the start. That's going to cost him pretty badly, I think. Let's see how everybody gets through turn 1. This could be crucial for some people's races. Everyone taking it nice and easy at the back, which is very good to see, Matt.
Yeah, not like these guys at all to be patient.
Well, Hoog has it.
And Sutton's gone a bit wide there, and now he's got Richard Wild alongside him, but actually Sutton just going to keep the position there in 4th.
And that's Adam Terry just behind. He's made up one position already from Kevin Critchley, who drops down to 7th position. Him obviously not getting a great start as well. Sutton, we know he's quick, but he now faces a bigger challenge because Stelian Chepalevsky is no slouch, and Richard Wild will be looking to get on the back of that CQR Fusion machine as soon as possible.
Yep, he's again, Richard's another one who doesn't tend to hang around. If he sees an opportunity, he's going to throw the car at it.
Well, we're on board now with Sutton, and that gap to Richard Wild looks fairly secure at the moment. Very short circuit this, of course. We have got a full 16 laps to do here. Everyone seems to be in one piece so far. It's a bit of a surprise, Dan.
Yeah, I've seen some of the footage of previous rounds, and not everyone's got round, but I think Chepalevsky's going to put Rushworth under a bit of pressure on the Wellington straight this time round.
Well, Chepalevsky's closing in on the back of Rushworth, isn't he? Rushworth managed to qualify 2nd. Doesn't look like anyone can match Hoog for pace, not just in the qualifying, but in the race as well, Matt.
Yep. Stefan's just turned up and been quick, hasn't he, since he arrived on iRacing, more or less, and he's carrying that on. I wouldn't say he's getting away, though. I think Jamie Rushworth's quite happily sitting on his bumper at the minute.
Well, the Swiss do pull out some surprises, don't they? Tennis players, mathematicians, now racing drivers as well.
$1 billion worth of gold.
Yeah, some nice cheese as well, I understand.
And of course cuckoo clocks.
Oh, all sorts of great stuff to come out of Switzerland, including your race leader, Stefan Hoog, right now. And the pink mirrors on that Bianco car can only mean one thing, that is Laura Bond in 14th position at the moment. Hey. Everybody is still in one piece, and Bond holding her own at the moment. She has David Baker, surprisingly low 13th at the moment, just up in front. That's Smolensky right behind, and Matt Walker behind him. But David Baker is actually challenging Brostrom. Brostrom is there in 12th place in the number 71 Movie Go machine. And we're still clean. I'm wondering if this really is a touring car race, because we haven't seen anyone go off so far.
I'm just looking at the front of Simon Field's car, and he's got a little bit of damage, so he's had a little bit of contact with somebody at some point. But as you're right in saying, this is touring cars. It's you're not here for dancing.
He's in a Movie Go sandwich as well. That's Reggie Blaine up in front and Linus Brustrom just behind. Simon Field really struggling this season compared to his 4th place last season, but Field is a hard charger and a very committed driver in that 888 machine. Whether it's the change of paint from his Wix machine last season.
Went wide there coming out of Cops, and he's lost 2 positions because the pass having gone Chepalevsky and Ashley Sutton, so a mistake there from Jamie Rushworth is going to cost him 2 places.
Well, let's go back and have another look at that one on the replay. So on the replay here, he was in 2nd position, and he's got Chepalevsky right on his tail there. Just coming round turn number 1. Yeah, and that's what we're talking about there. Just a little bit wide. It really wasn't much. There wasn't much in that at all. Sutton trying to get in the middle of those two on the replay, but Rushworth had to give it up. It wasn't a slowdown, Dan. It didn't look like that.
No, just like the loss of momentum let the other two cars go past him, and that's a big mistake to make, losing 2 positions.
Well, it's only a 1 point difference between each position this season, so all Rushworth has to do really is stay within about 3 or 4 points of the win in every round to guarantee that he's going to win this season. As touring cars though, absolutely anything could happen. 5 laps down here, Sutton moves into third, Chepalevsky second. Your race leader is still Stefan Hug from the Silverstone National Circuit. Just look how wide those guys are taking that exit, Matt. It's interesting to note those white lines don't seem to mean much.
Nah, they're more of an indicator, really, aren't they?
Oh, Sutton down the inside of Chepalevsky. Sorry to cut in on you.
Guidelines.
Chepalevsky with the cutback, and Sutton will have the inside at Luffield for the final corner. Chepalevsky giving him a little love tap, nothing too untoward about that, but a nice exchange of positions. And we were saying this before the race, weren't we, Matt, that Sutton really doesn't slow down when it comes to overtaking.
No, he's extremely aggressive, and you know, and that does tend to work for him a lot of the time. I'm just watching the mid-pack battle here with Reggie Blaine and Simon Field having a cracking scrap.
And that's Brewstrom right behind Field as well. Field still hasn't got himself out of that sandwich. Oh,
yep, he has now.
Very wide there.
Commentator's curse on
And also Chepalevsky's gone into the back of Ashley Sutton, so Ashley Sutton's going to his lot of position. There's more contact further back. Richard Wild and one of the Bianco cars, I think it's Adam Terry, but we'll change at the front, Chris.
Well, let's go and have a look at that on the replay pretty quickly.
Yep, Terry trying to recover here. He's going to lose a whole ton of positions.
So Sutton was in second, Chepalevsky in third position. Just got this one on the replay right now, and that was Rushworth behind after his earlier mistake. He's coming down now into turn 2 here. Yeah, Chepalevsky very late on the brakes there. Slides Sutton out, but these front wheel drive cars opposite lock full power should be able to recover that. And just seems to have slowed down, and then yeah, there's a concertina effect there. Rushworth into the back of Chepalevsky. Wild swerving to avoid. Terry can't stop, and poor old Russell Laidler in the background. He's given the front of Adam Terry's car quite a hammering on that replay, and yeah, it just shows, Matt, that just one little touch like that has a huge impact on potentially 5 or 6 cars.
Yeah, it's you know, that's what happens when you're running this close together, and that's why touring cars is always good to watch. Laura been very nice there and has let Adam Terry slot in front of us, so team game being played a little bit there, I think.
And Adam Terry's lost probably the biggest loser out of all of those, Dan. He's lost a lot of positions.
Yeah, Adam Terry's lost a lot of positions, but Ashley Sutton's now finding his way past Jamie Rushworth, it looks like. So Ashley Sutton, despite the problems, putting himself back into third position.
Well, good recovery from Sutton. I think Rushworth is probably content to stay out of trouble at this point and just make sure he scores some decent points. Haven't seen much aggressive driving from him. Only one small mistake. And Hug now only got a 1 second advantage. Who's that gone wide there? That's Russell Laidler gone off the track. And Kevin Critchley, want to watch out for him because he is making a challenge on Andreas Katz right now. A little bit of damage on the front of that Yuasa machine. And Katz is holding his own, Matt. He's still in 7th place. He's done well to come up as far as he has, but could come under pressure from Critchley here.
Yeah, it probably will. And it's just frustrating seeing Andreas back that far, isn't it? He's still used to last season seeing him running up the front, but you know he's working hard. You know he's not going to quit because I think he really does see himself as belonging up the front.
Well, it was almost like last season. We had the holy trinity of Andreas Katz, Stelian Chepalevsky, and Ade Koba-Lopez, who were just on alien pace. But now it seems like we've got a whole field of competitors who are just as quick as these guys. And Katz seems to have lost some of his drive. Would it be fair to say, Matt?
I don't think he's lost any of his drive. He's just struggling to get to grips with the car. But the guys that have come into the series are, you know, they're very, very, very quick. I mean, your likes of Jamie Rushworth, Stefan Hug, you know, these guys are not slow at all.
Oh, Kevin Critchley poking his nose up the inside of Andreas Katz, who was slowed down on the corner exit by a surprisingly slow Richard Wild there. Critchley won't get the job done, choosing not to make much of that slipstream as well, but that surely will come into play here, Dan.
Yeah, down that back straight, it's a very, very long straight, so probably one of the places on the whole calendar where you will see a difference. But speaking of making a difference, Stelian Chepalevsky took 2/10 out of Stephen Hug on the last lap, and he seems to be a bit closer this lap as well.
Yeah, down to 0.7 now, so we've got about 6 laps until the end of this first round of the evening. 2 more rounds coming your way almost immediately after this one as well, but can Chepalewski get a victory here, or will it fall to Stefan Hug to claim the crown in the first race? It's a big gap now. It's 2 seconds back to Ashley Sutton, who's made it back into 3rd place, but that 111 machine is coming under threat from Chepalewski, isn't he, Matt?
Yeah, and the one thing you can stay with Stelly is that we know he's not going to give up.
One of the most consistent, quickest drivers in this car, in this series.
You should have like a honey badger painted on the front of that thing or something. Like, he's just got anger written all over him.
Well, he's definitely got a point to prove. He would love more than anyone, I think, to win this championship, having missed out so narrowly last season. Adam Terry was also a championship almost. He lost by a fraction in Season 2 to Ellis Stevens, and he'll want to make up for that by taking his title this time round. But we've only ever had a two-way battle at the top of the table in previous seasons, guys. So it should be interesting, Dan, in that there's 5 drivers who could possibly take the title in a minute.
Yeah, it means you've got to be looking out for a lot more cars. And it's a good battle going from 9th backwards between Reggie Blaine, Simon Field there, and a couple of the other drivers, and there's 4 or 5 of them in real close proximity there.
Well, Simon Field, rather, is no longer in that sandwich. Linus Brustrom has dropped back from David Baker. David Baker takes up that position. Oh, and we lost Matt Walker. Matt Walker with the KX Momentum is off into the barriers. Let's see if we can go back and find out what might have happened to him on the replay. But do stay with that battle, Dan. That looks extremely tantalising.
And there's been a bit of a collision there between Simon Field and Reggie Blaine, and the Speedworks car is going to try and go around the outside. I think that's the David E. Baker. Yeah, David Baker. But as I said before, the battle is brewing. I think it's just about ready to explode.
Well, David Baker is almost side by side with Linus Brustrom. Can he get down the inside for that important first corner? He's not going to be able to do it this time, but just look at the distance between these guys. Baker's missed the apex, though. That's going to cost him a little bit. And the 2 Movie Go drivers are now side by side because Simon Field has slipped through as well, Matt.
Yeah, Simon put a really good move down the inside of Reggie Blaine there, and then Reggie had a bite back at him going around the corner and decided to try and lean on him a little bit. Bit of contact again, bit of elbows out. It's touring car racing. That's what we like to see anyway.
And Dan, it seems like Chepalewski's lead, Hug's lead, is still fairly secure. It seems to have gone down to 0.6 and kind of stayed there.
Yeah, Chepalewski's going to try and get on the back of Stephen Hug there, but at the moment, we're coming to the closing stages of the race, and it's taking something special for Chepalewski to catch up, but there is traffic on the way, so it'll be interesting to see how that factors into the final decision of the race.
And now down at Lovefield, Adam Terry has got the inside of David Baker. David Baker just left a little bit too much room. Those two are going to go too wide in turn 1, where we saw David Baker miss the apex last lap. Oh, look out, here comes Smolenski behind as well. He's not going to get in there, surely. Oh, he's gone a little bit wide, but Terry secured that place, and I thought Smolenski was going to have a little look down the inside. Probably best that he didn't, for Addison Lee Machine stays in 14th place.
I was going to say, it wouldn't be like the Russians to try and annex something, would it?
do you know that he's Russian? I'm not sure he is.
Well, guess.
And Steve Richardson is the car just in the background there behind Laura Bond. She's dropped a position down to 15th, still going well, mid-place. Robin Smith, though, for Movie Go, seems to have been caught up in some kind of incident. He's now running right at the back. A lap down in 32nd place, unfortunately. Look at this up front. That gap is almost non-existent. Chepalewski is on the charge, and Dan, it looks like he might well have enough time to get a few moves in here.
Yeah, he's got time, but he was helped by one of the tail enders. Stephen Hugh got a little bit held up there, and that in turn let Chepalewski have a chance. And Chepalewski's got a real run coming out of Maggots, so coming down the Wellington Straight, he's definitely menacing. Let's
go on board with Chepalewski. See the Chepalewski eye view. This is the Bulgaria cam, if you like. He's coming down into the final 2 corners now. His face is full at the back of that Bianco eBay machine.
He's on him like a Harry Krishna on an airport traveller, isn't he?
He's got about a 1/10 of a second to make up, and he needs a good run. Maybe he can do something down into turn 2. Unlikely, or around the first corner here to make any kind of difference. But you can hear him just lifting there, lifting a little bit early to avoid going back into the back of Hoog. So it looks like he's got the pace, Dan.
Yeah, he's going to try and maybe go around the outside. They're not unlucky there, but I think he's got a bit more. He's going to have a bit more coming out here. He's got a better drive out of the corner, and he's finding himself parked right on the back bumper there as Stephen Hoog again.
Let's look at the front of that car from the gearbox cam. Stefan Hoog. Oh, a little touch. A little bit of bump drafting going on there. Coming down into... getting too excited here. You better take over, Matt.
Yeah, if you know on the next lap if that happens, he's just going to shove him clean out the way, isn't he? But yeah, a little bit of bump drafting again, a bit of rubbing. Rubbing's racing.
It absolutely is, and
especially in touring car racing.
That's James Hickson just up in front as well, so could be some traffic on the very final lap for Stefan Hoog.
It's a good job that you've got the mirrored lens on Chepalewski's driver's head there, because I suspect if you could see his eyes, they're probably blazing red and currently on fire.
And a bit wide there from Stephen Hoog coming out of Cops, and that could give Chepalewski maybe that opportunity he's looking for if he can get the run out of this corner here. And Stefan Hoog he's definitely got the run. Chepalewski, he seems to be stronger on the exit coming out of the corner into the Wellington straight, and now he's going to go to the outside on that last lap.
Yeah, that's not going to work. He's going to need to try and get the inside here somehow.
It looks like it's... Oh, Hickson's done very well to get out of the way there. Looks like it's all over. Looks like Hoog's going to hold this one. Chepalewski did his best, but just no way past that wily Bianco driver in the 111 machine. Stefan Hoog comes over the line, pole to flag to take the first race of the evening at Silverstone National. Great drive, and Chepalewski, a bit of a controversial second place after nudging Ashley Sutton there, would you say, Matt? Well, that's Matt Dalton's opinion on the matter.
It's a little bit of rubbing in touring car racing is a bit like a little bit of rubbing in oval racing. It doesn't hurt as long as nobody's, really punted. That's kind of part of it. I think if you're in a GT or something like that, it's a little bit different.
Well, Sutton third, Rushworth in fourth. Rushworth not quite as fast as we've seen him in other rounds, but shouldn't really matter too much. Still only scoring 3 fewer points than he had if he would have won the race. Laidler with a very impressive 5th place, Wild in 6th, Critchley 7th, Katz 8th, so did succumb to Critchley's attack in the end. Simon Field doing Triple Eight proud by coming home in 9th, and another Movie Go racing driver in the top 10, that's Reggie Blaine in 10th place. So look at the rest of the results there.
It's a magic result for Reggie.
It is absolutely fantastic, and we
pulled that rabbit out of the hat, didn't he?
No, that's David. But we were just saying before the race, Matt, we were discussing this off the air. It seems to be a leveller, this circuit. The drivers who have the most skill don't necessarily do the best on this circuit.
No, it's personal opinion. I think it's rubbish. It's just that there's one challenging corner in turn 1, but apart from that, every other corner is flat as a pancake with second gear, and it's just about maximising the exit, which I suppose in itself is a little bit tricky, but it's not like a Brands Hatch where you've got curbing and all sorts to watch out for and natural cambers, and really the only people I don't know. I'm not a massive fan of Silverstone, and they apparently don't like competition either, so...
Well, this is the old version of Silverstone as well. I mean, it wouldn't make much difference on the national circuit anyway, but it's a very different circuit nowadays, so that's something to bear in mind as well. But
is it? They've put hills and stuff in it now, have they?
Oh, yeah, it's an off-road circuit, Silverstone, nowadays. It should make the F1 rather interesting as well. The scores on your screen are showing...
It's a flat old airfield in the middle of nowhere, come on! People keep making it out to be the jewel of British motorsport. It's the one that's had the most money spent on it. Apart from that, it's crap.
No shortage of opinion here on BSL TV. The scores on your screen anyway showing zeros. They're not correct. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on there. But there's the top 30 anyway. Let's go over now to see if we can have a quick word with Russell Laidler, who came home in 5th for his CQR team. Hello, Rusty.
How's it going?
Very well, all the better for watching that particular race, because that was absolutely thrilling. And you managed to get a 5th out of that, you must be thrilled.
I'm celebrating like I won the damn thing.
Well,
absolutely loved it.
almost got the jump on Ash as well, Ash Sutton.
I nearly got Rushworth as well, but as usual, back markers getting in the way. Not using mirrors, but can't be helped. There's a lot of cars on track, so...
One of the things that we saw at the start of this race, which made me think perhaps we weren't watching touring car racing, was that very few people actually went off. Was that something you noticed?
Yeah, I think we're all starting to behave ourselves now.
Well, that's no good, especially not towards the end of the season.
Exactly. The carnageometer nearly froze over. I don't know what's going on.
When you look at Hug, Cheppy, Rushworth, Terry, you've got people going for the title. You've got people going for the team's title. So they're taking less risks because they need to maximise points that they're getting. People like Ash and myself, who we're again like last season, we're not really in a title running. We can kind of advantage on this with the sheer fact that if I don't get any points from this race, it's not really going to hurt me in any essence. You know. Are you outside, Chris? It sounds windy down there.
Oh, sorry about that. That closed the window. One of the things we wondered about this race was Jamie Rushworth didn't seem to be challenging as hard as he would have been challenging, and it struck us that maybe he was just holding position there rather than battling. What do you think?
I don't know. It's a hard one to judge. Short tracks, especially tracks as short as this, you can't afford errors. Every corner, every apex has to be spot on just to get a time. So to go fast, get to Jamie Hug's usual pace, you're pushing absolutely phenomenal. You're talking thousandths of a second to get perfect laps each time. So it's absolutely imperative to do what you can. It's a great track for racing, always has been, because it keeps everyone nice and tight. It throws people like me into the mix because I'm quite good at smaller tracks, whereas GP tracks, I'll sometimes make a hash of it now and then, but.
Well, so sixth place in the next round, reverse grid of course, so you'll be starting sixth on the grid. Where can you realistically come? Because you're going to have some big names behind you.
Well, that's the thing. I'm just going to try and keep my eyes forward and try not to worry too much about what's behind me. But now I've said that, I'm probably going to go backwards at turn one. Especially now that Matt said there was no carnage. I think this one's going to be horrendous.
Well, thanks, Matt. You've set the stage nicely for race 2 of the evening. But best of luck, Rusty. We'll let you prepare for that one.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the day.
And that's Russell Laidler there for CQR Fusion. And didn't he do well? The 2 CQR Fusion drivers in the top 5 there, Dan. He's on fire tonight.
Yeah, it was good driving by both of them, by Rusty and from Ashley Sutton. I think Ashley Sutton did well as well. After being turned around, he was about a second and a half back by the end, so he didn't let him get too angry. I think he just put his head down, and if it was a few laps more longer, I think he would have been a factor at the front again.
Well, that is round 25 from Silverstone National. Round 26 is coming your way in just a few minutes here. That'll be at 9:30, or the next video if you happen to be watching this recorded. Another 16 laps round Silverstone National with a reverse grid from the top 10. So from me and Matt and Dan in the commentary box, join us in just a minute.